Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on a very special video with interpretive talk about wolves and their important roles in the wilderness ecosystem. A 10-minute drive from our cabin in the Canadian Rockies is the Northern Lights Wildlife Wolf Centre, an educational facility that loves to educate the public about the often misunderstood wolf and conservation throughout the natural environment. I will put some links and info about the Walk with Wolves in the Wilderness tour on the content page of this video upload. In the meantime, enjoy the video.
So I did just introduce these guys to our wolves. I'm just gonna go through it super quick if you guys don't mind. So our wolves here, they do go for walks. They do go out into these bigger enclosures in the back, so they're not just contained to these enclosures. Scrappy Dave and Flora. Flora's out for a walk right now. This is an extra service we do provide. You can go for a walk with a wolf. It's your chance to interact with them without a fence, and probably get a little pet, probably get a little kiss, because Flora's really loving. Scrappy Dave is her full brother. They're 10 years old. They are the stars of the show here. Honey is our only wild-born wolf. She was rescued from the wild in the Crow's Nest Pass. And then over the deck we have Farley and Murphy. And then in the next one over we have Mac and Uno. Uno and Murphy are brothers, 5 years old. Farley's their cousin, also 5, all from a breeder in Montana. Mac is old, grumpy, and big. He's 11 years old. He was rescued from a hoarding situation at a zoo in Alberta. So we're gonna let him be grumpy. He's not gonna go on these walks. That's totally fine. He was the lucky guy because his siblings went to fur-bearing farms because we didn't have space for them. So our guys here, they don't get released into the wild. This is because they're habituated on humans. They would probably approach a human looking for a snack in their pocket and get put down. So there's 2 species of wolves in the world. That's the Canis lupus, gray wolf, which is all of our wolves here are 100% gray wolf. And then there's the Canis rufus, the red wolf. So the red wolf is the only protected wolf here in North America. Very endangered species. They're in South America, Eastern Canada. Lots of breeding programs going on in the Carolinas for them. They're a little bit smaller than these guys, bigger ears, bright yellow eyes. They've only been studied for about 65 years. Scientists think that they may have somewhere been bred to coyotes. So, and it might have been human done, just because they have been studied for such a short period of time. Either way, they are trying to bring them back into the wild. They're a very endangered species. So, pack in the wild, what do you think the leaders' names are? What are they called? Alpha. Alpha, yeah. So it's actually 2 wolves. So it's 2 wolves, it's alpha male, alpha female. Better term for it, breeding pair. So they're the only breeding pair in a pack. And they only have 1 litter a year, always in the spring. And better term for them, mom and dad. They are the mom and dad of the rest of the pack, basically. It's all just one big extended family. And then underneath them are the beta male, beta female. Those are just the more dominant wolves of their litters. So they're gonna step up and take over should something happen to the alphas, or should they, not be doing their job properly. Then underneath them are the subordinate wolves. They're the working force of the pack. They're gonna help these guys hunt, the alphas and the betas. The alphas, though, they make all the choices on where to hunt, what they're hunting, where they're denning. So it's not about their brawn, it's about their brains. And it's usually the females making the call. Usually the males are the enforcer. But just like people. Yep. But of course, every pack is different, just like every family is different for us. It's actually said by scientists that a pack's family structure is more closely related, more similar to a human's family structure than any animal in the wild. So every wolf in the pack does look after the puppies, and they'll actually even look after unrelated puppies. For example, Scrappy Dave and Flora, when Honey came in as a little pup, Scrappy Dave was feeding her within an hour. Alpha, beta, subordinates, they're all going for a hunt. What do you think they're going to be hunting?
Deer.
Deer, yeah. What else?
Rabbit.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So their role in the ecosystem is they are going to go for those big herbivores. We call them the ungulates. Deer, elk, caribou, moose, bison, bighorn sheep, that kind of thing. They will occasionally go for things like rabbits, raccoons, birds, but that's what we call an hors d'oeuvre. They think pack mentality. They want to feed their whole family. Rabbit's not going to go very far in a family of wolves. They'll also go for carrion, like something that's already passed on. They, you know, if they can get a free meal, they will, rather than possibly getting injured in a hunt, which does happen quite often. They aren't these elite hunters that we think they are. They only make a kill about 1 in every 10 hunts. And they do go for the weak, sick, injured, young, old animals, the easier prey. This does help the genetics of the herds, weeding out the diseased, weeding out the weak, survival of the fittest. So they take down, let's say, example, a bison. They're immediately going to eat about 25% of their body weight. So to give you an example of what that looks like, Scrappy Dave here is just under 100 pounds. That's him eating 25 pounds of meat. That's me not eating for 2 weeks and going to McDonald's and eating 110 hamburgers.
Oh.
Yes. So I would probably pop. Us humans aren't built for that, but these guys are. So they have adapted to a feast or famine lifestyle. So they'll eat 25% of their body weight. They'll kind of laze around for 4 to 5 days, get meat drunk, as we call it. And then they might go try and hunt again. They average about a hunt every week, but they can go up to a month without eating because of this feast and famine adaptation. Very small portion of their diet is vegetation. They will eat grass, berries, flowers, just to kind of fill the void. And sometimes some scientists believe that they may eat grass to kind of push worms out of their system as well, just like dogs do. So, and then when they do make the kill, they eat everything. They eat the hide. They crunch, it actually helps clean their teeth. They crunch through those bones to get to the marrow. They eat everything but what we call the gut pile, so the stomach and the intestines. Those have a little bit of bacteria that is a bit toxic to them, but it does feed 25 other species in the forest. So a wolf makes a kill, everyone gets a meal. So you're probably wondering what we feed these guys. We feed them about 50% donated meat. So, you know, farmers, old sick animals, old laying hens, that kind of thing. Freezer burnt meat, these guys really don't care if it's freezer burnt. And then we get hunters donating to us sometimes. And then, thankfully, as of fall of 2020, we got slated as a roadkill dump site. So before that, we would have to pay $80 to $120 and go scrape it off the road ourselves. Now, thankfully, the road workers, not the road killers, that sounds awful. The road workers will pick it up, drop it off here, free of charge for us. So Miss Flora, who unfortunately isn't here, she's just a little bit smaller than him, 65-pound female. She's clocked at 32 seconds to get through that block. So they rip, tear, shred, they don't chew, they just swallow. That's where the term wolfing your food comes from. Yeah. So let's go back to that example. Pack takes down a bison. They have a den site 50 kilometers away. Bunch of hungry puppies, hungry omega. How are they going to bring that food back?
Bit by bit, but they bury some of it, is it?
They do cache sometimes, yeah. But,
Drag it?
sorry?
Drag it?
No.
Eat it and then...
Yes.
Regurgitate it?
Yeah,
okay.
so they're kind of like birds.
Yeah.
They will eat 25% of their body weight. And then they're going to trot back real slow because they're all meat drunk and tired. But they got to get back to their pups. Those pups are hungry. So that food is, you know, swirling around in their stomach. They got heat. They got enzymes. We call it a crock pot. And then they get to the pups. Pups lick under their jowls. They regurgitate. And that's every wolf in the pack. It's not just mom and dad feeding the pups. Everybody looks after the puppies. They'll crunch through bone to get through that marrow. They have to have pretty strong bite strength for that. They are clocked at about 1,500 PSI bite strength. To give you an idea of what that is, let's say an average dog is about 450. Strongest dog clocks at about 750, half of that. On the other end of the spectrum, we got a garbage truck. It's crushing garbage in the back of a truck. That's 2,000 PSI. So a wolf's bite strength is closer to a machine than it is to a domesticated dog. It's actually pretty crazy when you start throwing food in there. You can hear their jaws snapping. It's very impressive. Don't get your hands in there while they're eating.
No.
So they have the bite strength. They have a lot of different adaptations to hunt in their very big territories, which can range from anywhere 200 square kilometers to 2,500 square kilometers. So they got pretty big territories. They do love to travel. So they have all these different adaptations to move around in them. They can walk 2 to 4 kilometers an hour. They can trot 12 to 18 kilometers an hour. And probably most impressive, they can run up to 65 kilometers an hour, hold that speed for up to 20 kilometers without slowing down. So that's like from here to Golden and back without slowing down at 65 kilometers an hour. So if you've ever seen a video of a wolf running at full speed, it's pretty impressive. They have really big paws that are webbed, so their toes are webbed. That's front and back. That helps them to kind of work as snowshoes when they move along on the top of the snow. They also walk in the snow at a cross-tracking pattern, so that means that their back feet will kind of follow in the same prints as their front feet. That way they move a little bit more efficiently, and then they move in that line, only making that one track, so it does help conceal their numbers. And they can see about 100 times better than us at night, a little bit better than us during the day. And they do see in colors, mostly reds and yellows, just like dogs. They have 2 coats. You can see right now Scrappy Dave's looking a little more scrappy than usual. Well, he's shedding his undercoat. Here, I'll actually get you a little bit so you can see how soft it is. It's a very special time of year. They have a top coat that is hollow hairs that slicks off the rain, keeps them dry 12 months of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to show them your fur. Oh, no, I don't have any snacks. I'm sorry. No snacks.
He's looking for his sister, that's why he's kind of pacing around a bit. So if you want to have a feel, have a feel of that. Very soft. So that's their down layer. They're shedding it right now if you guys want to them. So they're shedding that out right now. That's why he's looking a little, you know, he's a little fluffy, a little scruffy. And it's good that they are, because it's a little warm to be dressed for -40 right now. So they communicate in several different ways. They communicate by scent, so they'll mark their territory with their scat, their urine, their pee, or their poo. They also have scent glands at the back of their tails. Once you see Scrappy Dave's back end there, you'll notice at the top of his tail is a little black mark. All wolves have this darker mark at the top of their tail. It's actually a scent gland. And it's dark marked so other wolves can target it and have a little sniff and kind of identify how the wolf is doing. So you'll see as soon as he turns around there, that little black mark at the top. They also have scent glands on their cheek that they'll rub against things. And then they have scent glands on their paws. So if you've ever seen a dog after they use the bathroom, they go like this. They're not trying to cover up what they've just done. What they're doing is they're compressing that scent gland in their paw to leave a little text message for other animals to come and smell. These guys do the exact same thing. They also communicate by body language. You know, their ears will move in all sorts of ways. You can see Dave's right now moving all about. Their tails can be relaxed. It can be, you know, stiff up top. It can be tucked between their legs. They do full body postures where one will posture over the other very stiffly, or, you know, they'll roll over to show their belly in submission. They play bow just like a dog. I find it really cute myself. All kinds of subtle things too in their facial features. Even like scientists have been saying that, you know, if you've noticed the guys who aren't white, they tend to have very light mouths, a little bit of a lightness around their eyes. This is actually to kind of highlight these areas where they're showing different expressions to other wolves. So they're constantly communicating with each other in ways that we don't notice at all, in very subtle facial features. And then of course they communicate by sound. You guys got lucky enough to hear a howl. So they howl for all sorts of reasons. They don't just howl at the full moon, obviously. That's definitely not the full moon right now. They howl, you know, I think what they were doing was Flora left, so they were trying to call their pack mate back. They also like to howl a lot, these guys, whenever Shelly goes, the owner, because they see her as mom, they see her as alpha. So they try to call her back whenever she's gone for the day. It's very cute. They might be warning other rival packs away. They might just be happy. They might just be sad. Maybe they just like feel like singing a song. We don't know all the reasons wolves howl. We don't speak wolf, unfortunately. But a couple things we do know, I did tell you guys already, but they will change their pitch, every wolf in a pack, so every howl sounds a little bit different, so they can identify each other. After you've been here for a while, you can kind of identify which wolf is howling. And then, of course, they will change their pitch as they're howling to make a pack of 3 to 6, let's say, sound like a pack of 10 to 15. So they may be a little bit more intimidating to a possible rival. So, I know I've been talking at you guys for a while. Thanks for listening, but I'm about to get to my last section here, and this is our most important section. This is our mission here. Why are wolves so important to our ecosystem? So they have a whole bunch of different fancy names that scientists call them. They're apex predator, they're bioindicator species, they're an umbrella species, or what we like to use is they are a keystone species. So imagine an archway. This stone at the top is your keystone. What happens when you pull out the keystone? Everything falls apart. That's exactly what happens when you remove these guys from their ecosystem. Have you guys heard about the story of Yellowstone? It's a great example. Well, I'm gonna get into it super quick, just because it's my job. But, so, late 1800s, sorry, they built this very first North American park, borders on Montana, Idaho, Wyoming. They decided they wanted to create an elk preserve. And to preserve the prey, the government made a silly decision. Let's get rid of the predators. So unfortunately, by the 1920s, they had shot the last wolf pack in Yellowstone National Park. Wolves were completely extirpated from that area, which means they aren't extinct in general, but they're just extinct from that area. So yeah, no more wolves in Yellowstone. About 30 years later, Jonas comes in. He's this young guy from New York, lifelong dream to work at beautiful Yellowstone National Park. He gets there, everything's decimated. What the heck? All that's left? A whole bunch of elk with lots of diseases going through their populations, and some coyotes. Nothing else. So he decides to do his master thesis on why are there no willow trees, why are there no beavers in Yellowstone National Park. The conclusion he came to? No wolves. So what was happening were these big herds of elk were no longer acting like wild animals. They weren't moving around to avoid predators. They weren't going up into the tree line. They were kind of staying in the lowland, and they were going and acting like livestock, where they would graze everyone out of house and home in one area, and then move to the next area, graze everyone out of house and home. They had nothing to be scared of. They didn't have to run away anywhere, that kind of thing. So what they were doing, they were eating the very important willow saplings, aspen saplings, cottonwood saplings. These trees are the food and the tools to the beaver. So beaver doesn't have any food or tools, they pack their bags and get out of there. Without the beaver, they are the keystone species of the aquatic systems. Without the beaver, we don't have dams. Without dams, we don't have ponds. Without ponds, we don't have insects spread in the ponds. So the banks started eroding, rivers started changing direction, banks started eroding, we started losing trees, treetops, so no homes for birds. Migratory birds weren't touching down there anymore. Without the insects, we didn't have food for birds or food for fish. Without fish, we don't have bears. Basically, it was this big old domino effect. Everything started to collapse.